Larry, in your blog post, you go farther than simply taking issue with Gary Cohn. I mean, reasonably intelligent people can disagree who are informed on things, but you actually say that he may be reaching so far as to damage his own credibility when he says some of the things he says about the tax plan and other things like that he's been discussing. Are you genuinely concerned that he could be undermining his credibility and therefore perhaps undermining his chances of becoming chairman of the Fed?
You know, David, on personnel, that's the president's responsibility. I'm not going to say any more about that. I can only speak for myself and what I learned working closely with Bob Rubin. And that is that when you're a senior economic official, your credibility is important for you, but it's even more important for the country, because there will come times in real problems, moments of distress, when you're going to have to provide words of reassurance, deeds of reassurance, and your credibility is going to be very important. And so when you make misstatements, like erroneous statements, like the statement that Cohn made suggesting that this was the first time in 31 years we'd have tax cuts, suggesting that this is somehow comparable, what he's doing now is somehow comparable to 1986, when you suggest that corporate tax cuts have as their primary beneficiaries middle-class workers, when it's obviously corporate shareholders who are disproportionately in the top 1%, when you assert that banks are paying hundreds of billions of dollars in compliance costs, when the reality is that the total payroll of banks for everything, all the banking they do, is only a few hundred $1 billion. Yeah. I think at a certain point, there's a risk that people think that you say things because they're expedient to say rather than because they're true. And I think ultimately that has a cost in terms of economic policy. And I think ultimately a core problem our country has is a lack of trust in public institutions. And when senior officials say things where they know better, and it's kind of obvious that that's what they're doing, and by the way, I mentioned, because it's my area of economics, what NEC Director Cohn has said, but it is as nothing compared to the number of factual errors and blatant misstatements the president has made. Yeah, I think that dishonesty breeds distrust, and distrust is ultimately very costly for the kind of country we want to be.